But we lean forward to the next crazy venture beneath the skies. We had all kinds of trouble getting to Frisco. And once there, I got stuck and had to stagger back east, as Alan predicted, but who cares, and I didn't. We wheeled through the sultry old light of Algiers, back on the ferry, back towards the muddy, splashed, crabbed old ships across the river, back on canal and out on a 2-lane highway to Baton Rouge in purple darkness. Swung west there, across the Mississippi at a place called Port Allen, and tore across the state of Louisiana in a matter of 3 hours. Port Allen, poor Allen, where the river's all rain and roses in a misty pinpoint darkness, and where we swung around a circular drive in yellow fog light and suddenly saw the great black body below a bridge crossed into eternity again. What is the Mississippi River? A washed clod in the rainy night, a soft plopping from drooping Missouri banks, a dissolving, a riding of the tide down the eternal waterbed, a contribution to brown foams, a voyaging past endless vales and trees and levees, down along by Memphis, Greenville, Eudora, Vicksburg, Natchez, Port Allen, Port Orleans, and the point of the deltas, by Potash, Venice, and the night's great Gulf, and out. So the stars shine warm in the Gulf of Mexico at night. From the soft and thunderous Carib comes electricity, and from the continental divide, where rain and rivers and decided come swirls, and that little raindrop that in Dakota fell and gathered mud and roses rises resurrected from the sea and flies on back to go and bloom again in the waving mells of the Mississippi's bed and lives again. So we Americans together tend as rain to the all river of togetherness, to the sea and out, and we don't know where. With the radio onto a mystery program, and as I looked out the window and saw a sign that said, "Use Cooper's paint," and I said, "Okay, I will." We rolled across the hoodwink night of the great Louisiana plains, Lawtell, Eunice, Kinder, DeQuincy, western rickety towns, becoming more bayou-like as we reached Sabine and old Appaloosis. I went to a grocery store to buy bread and cheese while Neil saw to gas and oil, and it was just a shack. I could hear the family eating supper in the back. I waited a minute. They went on talking. I took bread and cheese and slipped out the door. We had barely enough money to make Frisco. Meanwhile, Neil took a carton of cigarettes from the gas station, and we were stocked for the voyage. Gas, oil, cigarettes, and food. He pointed the car straight down the road. Somewhere near Stark's, we saw a great red glow in the sky ahead, and we wondered what it was. In a moment, we were passing it. It was a fire beyond the trees, and there were many cars parked on the highway. It must have been some kind of fish fry. On the other hand, it might have been anything. The country turned strange and dark near Deweyville, and suddenly we were in the swamps. Man, you imagine what it would be like if we found a jazz joint in these swamps, with great big black fellas moaning guitar blues and drinking snake juice and making signs at us? Yes! There were mysteries around here. The car was going over a dirt road elevated off the swamps that dropped on both sides and drooped with vines. We passed an apparition. It was a colored man in a white shirt walking along with his arms upspread in the inky firmament. We must have been praying or calling down a curse. We zoomed right by. I looked out the back window to see his white eyes. "Ooh," said Neil. "Look out, we better not stop in this here country." At one point, we got stuck at a crossroads and stopped the car anyway, and Neil turned off the headlamps, and we were surrounded by a great forest of viney trees in which we could almost hear the slither of a million copperheads. The only thing we could see was the red Ampere button on the Hudson dashboard. And Luann, she squealed with fright. We began laughing maniac laughs to scare her. We were scared too. We wanted to get out of this mansion of the snake, this mireful, drooping, dark, and zoom back to the familiar American ground and cow towns. There was a smell of oil and dead water in the air. This was a manuscript of the night that we couldn't read. An owl hooted. We took a chance on one of the dirt roads, and pretty soon we were crossing the evil old Sabine River that is responsible for all these swamps. With amazement, we saw great structures of light ahead of us. "Texas! It's Texas! Beaumont Oil Town!"